Man, I sure do love playing games of the video variety. Huh? I wasn't expecting anything.
Hey. Alright, cool.
Hey everyone, it's me, Shemp, back with another famous Shemp's Late Review video.
Shut up. You were busy.
Oh, that's just what disappointments say. Okay, yes, it has been a bit since the game came out, but like I said before, I personally like to get past the honeymoon phase with these games. Hell, I even got the Platinum Trophy on the PS5 version.
Jesus Christ, you're so hot.
I know. Cease peasant. Anyways, this video was eventually coming. I was actually getting a bunch of DMs asking what my thoughts were on the game and if I was doing a video. First off, thank you guys so much. It means the world to me knowing that you guys actually care. Understandable.
As for me, I felt the same way. I'm pretty busy in my personal life, so I couldn't finish it as fast as everyone else was. So without stalling anymore, we have a lot to say. This is a big bag of video game to unpack. So let's dive in.
I typically don't like to focus on individual aspects of the game by themselves, but I feel like it's a bit needed here. So I want to focus on the story first. If you don't care about hearing the plot again or our thoughts, skip here to go straight to the gameplay section. It's kind of funny because when the game started off, it was very Sonic Lost World-esque, and I audibly went, hold on a minute, we're not doing this again, but thankfully no. Sonic and Co. were just doing their routine standing on an airplane going however many miles per hour with no safety straps in the sky. But before then, Eggman is doing his nightly walks in the forest. Good for him, by the way. And then comes up on this giant stone pillar, as you do. He slaps some device on it, causing the screams of the dam and bodyguards to spawn in. Then he gets unberthed into the pillar.
Cut to the plane where Sonic says the Chaos Emeralds are at this place called Starfall Island, which, you're right, is very Sonic Lost World. As in, we get an introduction to a world at the very beginning with no build-up. But anyways, the plane gets yeeted into the sky and Tails calmly explains what's causing it as they receive some gnarly whiplash.
Some kind of atmospheric charge. Hang on.
It's actually quite simple. You see, when it really comes to the end of it, this new world that we found actually is really interconnected with ours. So if we actually
Sonic then quickly gets sucked into the
merge!
Anyways, they get sucked into a hole and you get thrown into a level immediately. More on that later. After we escape, a voice in the sky tells us we're super base for escaping cyberspace and instructs us to kill the Titans and break down the dimensions. Sonic complies because that may be the only way to save his friends. I guess.
Yeah, that. Because, you know, a mysterious voice telling us to fight Titans is trustworthy, because if video games have taught us anything, it's that when a mysterious sky voice tells you to fight Titans, there's no way it's a morally ambiguous thing to do that will probably be a decision you'll regret. So eventually, we find Amy in this pod when he gets her out. We see that she's actually some sort of hologram, and whatever was keeping her held went into Sonic's arm. On our search for Tails, Sonic comes across the first Titan and a weird floating girl. This is Sage, an AI created by Eggman to hack into the civilization known as the Ancients, which occupy the Starfall Islands by breaching cyberspace. Sage stops the Titan to warn Sonic that he's cringe and not to approach the Titan. Sonic approaches the Titan anyway and immediately gets chucked into the next millennia.
So that's the rough introduction. Throughout the game, your mission is to collect tokens and talk to your friends and hear what's on their minds about the island or about themselves personally. It's a very different type of dialogue for a Sonic game, but it feels so refreshing. It can range from Amy wanting to help these little beings called Cocos find their true love, to Tails explaining how much of a burden he feels to Sonic for not being braver. Sonic himself gets fleshed out by bantering back and helping them realize they aren't alone, they aren't a coward, or they can be whoever they want. The writing is genuinely good. Most of my motivation for playing the game was me wanting to hear more of what everyone had to say to each other.
To be honest, my bar was really low because, you know, it's Sonic.
You take that back!
But I was genuinely surprised by the writing. My biggest gripe with the story is a lot of the character conflicts are introduced and solved usually in the same cutscene, Like, Knuckles talks about how alone and isolated he feels, which makes sense for his character. But the problem is fixed way too fast, and all of a sudden Knuckles is better. It's a bit better with Tails, but even then, it still feels like it comes out of nowhere. I suppose the most natural one was Amy. She didn't really have a problem per se, more of just a realization that she wants to explore the world and share her love. Sonic encourages her, then they get back to what they're doing. It is the most organic interaction between everyone. But hands down, the best one is Sage. Throughout the game, Sage starts off trying to stop you and constantly tells you that she's run so many simulations and Sonic's odds of winning are non-existent. But she's so confused and intrigued as to why Sonic continues anyway. As the story progresses, her morals begin to change organically. It's not really a, oh okay, I'm good now. We see her constantly fighting her conflicting morals. Hell, she even tells Eggman, who's stuck in cyberspace, that she thinks his best chance of escaping alive is to team up with Sonic.
Oh yeah, Eggman's still stuck in cyberspace. The whole time he's there, he's waiting on Sage to come back and tell him how he can get out of cyberspace. While he waits, he actually records voice logs of his findings while he's trapped, which actually gives us the most lore we've gotten in a very long time. He talks about stuff that happened in old Sonic games, makes comparisons to recent ones, and even starts respecting pronouns. What a king.
I wonder if she has a preference.
As for the plot, it's nothing special. You know, we save our friends, get a fake out of Sonic dying, or whatever this is.
Sorry. I shit my pants.
Then we team with Sage, who's good now, and save the day. Basic plot and plot progression, but great characterization with everyone in between. The writing genuinely keeps the player wanting to move on. It's my favorite part about the game, honestly. There's bits and pieces of dialogue that really tug at your heartstring. Besides this, though, this is cringe as fuck. With that being said, the director of the game thought it could have been better. He went on to say that he wished they focused a bit more on the story and writing, which is now a primary focus for the next game. If this is writing he thinks could evolve, then I'm actually really excited for the next game's story.
Oh hey, the viewers who skipped the story segment just showed up.
Oh yeah, you're right. Welcome back, guys. Time for an ad.
Hey, you. Yeah, you want to be fucking big and strong like me? Oh, by golly gosh, do I got the product for you, men. Rogue Energy. You know them. You love them. Wait, you don't know them? Like, I don't. Genuinely, what the fuck? That's fucked up, but it's okay. I'm gonna help you do this, okay? Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to rogueenergy.com, all right? You still with me? You're gonna get the sample packs. Hey, eyes up here, okay? We're gonna get through this together. You're gonna pick out the flavors that you want, okay? Listen, I'm fucking serious. Get them. Free, all right? You got it. And then afterwards, you're gonna use code SHEMP. You still with me? Come on, let's go. Use code SHEMP. Get 10% off your entire order because you're gonna buy some, okay? This is already a level of stress my therapist said that I don't need right now. I'm not gonna help you out next time, okay? Because you better figure this out. rogueenergy.com, code SHEMP, 10% off. Do not talk to me unless you have Rogue. Genuinely serious. I do not want to fucking hear it unless you have Rogue, okay? Okay. Bye.
Now, the main question, the number one question, is the game fun? And I'll tell you, after this ad, my OnlyFans.
No, not another ad. We're moving on. Yes, this game is actually a lot of fun. Very different than what you think it is.
Absolutely. So the game is mainly split into two sections, the cyber stages and the open world. Yes, open world. In the open world, you're free to explore every nook and cranny there is to the most customizable Sonic has ever been. You can really get into the nitty-gritty of Sonic's control schemes in this game, and that's super nice. Instead of drastically altering the controls for new players, the team just gave them the option to adjust what they need.
That's right, you can upgrade Sonic now. They're taking a whole lot of RPG approaches in this game, and I really liked that. It's weirdly fitting, which reminds me, this game was constantly getting compared to Breath of the Wild specifically. The comparisons are obvious, especially in the first trailer, but that's not a bad thing. Tons of people online were making it out to be bad, but it's really not. The game does more than enough to differentiate itself from that game specifically. Anyone can point to any similarity for tons of games, but Frontiers definitely has its own identity. Plus, the first island is really the most Breath of the Wild the game gets in terms of environments. Every island has its own theme and identity. They're all memorable, for better or for worse.
In addition to Sonic's normal boost and homing attack, Sonic can now do full-on combat. You have a pretty basic skill tree that you can very quickly finish, which unlocks a plethora of flashy moves and combos. This is the area I was the most skeptical about because, like all other early footage, it looked extremely janky. But, thankfully, I can confirm that it's actually really fun, albeit a bit underwhelming. I really wish I could do more in terms of combat. There's a lot of potential, but with that potential comes a lot of jank. It's Sonic after all. This doesn't come anywhere near as fleshed out as the Werehog combat in Sonic Unleashed. Yes, I did just say that. Fans of the channel know I am a huge Unleashed fan, and I genuinely really liked the combat in that game. If Sonic Team is going to keep up this formula for future titles, then this will definitely be the bar for me personally.
Throughout the world, as you explore, you're going to run into a lot of different stuff. Besides the enemies and bosses scattered around, you'll see a huge amount of grind rails and springs just existing. A majority of them aren't really connected to any part of the environment. They're just there. Each of these little clusters feels like a super bite-sized level to get some small collectibles in the world. Most are fun to traverse and help you gain more speed. However, I was constantly caught off guard when it would lock me into a 2D section in the overworld where it would restrict my 3D movement. That being said, they're all fun to whip around on, but that doesn't make them feel any less jarring to see, especially with this awful pop-in. We're on the PS5 for crying out loud. The lower draw distance is extremely unnecessary. I feel pretty bad for Switch users, because good lord, that's unacceptable. Also, pinball! Anyways.
The open world is a huge step in the right direction. It goes without saying that having a very fast character in this big open world is extremely fun, but the only thing holding it back for me is the amount of jank.
It's pretty rough. Sonic has the magnet shoes problem he had in the Sonic 06, where every little change in geometry will have him clinging to it for dear life, no matter how fast he's going. It's extremely off-putting when you're boosting around. But what's worse than that is the complete lack of momentum you get when jumping. There were so many points in this game where I wanted to set up a really cool boost jump, just to have it ruined by the physics. Every time you boost and jump, the momentum immediately gets halted for whatever reason. It's not like there isn't momentum. You can do the drop dash in this game and literally gain an assload of momentum. Or just break the game, which is what I did a lot.
One of my new favorite additions in the game is the Psyloop ability. Basically, Sonic at any time can start forming a blue trail and interact with objects and enemies throughout the environment. It's a really handy tool in Sonic's arsenal. You can even farm rings if you're low by running in circles. Not sure if this is an oversight, but it's good to know I can safely explore without worrying about running out of rings. But when you're not in the open world, you'll be hopping into these cyber stages. These are short Sonic boost levels that we're all accustomed to by this point. They're really fun. What?
These are probably the worst parts of the game for me.
What? Hold on, just keep talking.
See, these levels are actually rips of other levels from other Sonic games, which makes sense for the theme of the game. I don't mind that at all. It was really nice seeing so much adventure representation. But the problem is Sonic's controls for the cyber stages are fixed. They can't be changed like they can in the open world. So if you're used to how he controls outside of these stages, then it will be even more jarring when you hop into a level. Sonic's boost is more of a suggestion. It doesn't really boost like you did in the other games, at least in the cyber stages. I honestly don't feel any faster when I'm boosting. So whenever you're playing a stage from Generations, for example, a stage made with the faster boost in mind, it really shows how slow and jank Frontiers boosting is. Now, on the other hand, whenever you're playing an adventure level, it feels fantastic. Since the boost is such a non-boost, Sonic's regular controls really shine through these. But they're over so quickly, it doesn't really give me any satisfaction after completing them. You're pursuing around the open world for God knows how long, finding hidden stuff and jumping around just to do this awkward level for like a minute or two and then pop back out. It feels so off-putting.
You're just mad I beat your best time.
I'll actually fucking kill you.
Well, I think something we can agree on is that these are literally the best boss fights we've ever gotten in a Sonic game.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, God.
Okay, Yes, Sonic Frontiers hands down has the best boss fights I've ever played through in a Sonic game, let alone a platformer. And no, it's not just because of the extremely banger music, which, by the way, are all bangers. I'm extremely surprised by how well these fights control. You get a great sense of power and speed while controlling Sonic in the air. When you're in close with these huge beasts, you literally just beat the fucking shit out of them. Fishing! Anyways.
But good lord, it may have the best boss fights, but it absolutely has the worst final boss. See, every regular boss felt like a final boss, and the final boss feels like a minigame. Because it is. You do this earlier in the game. It's just way fucking harder. All you do is listen to this Moon Thing monologue about what a fucking cringe-ass nene baby you are, while at the same time completely obliterating your cheeks with this final bullet hell segment. And guess what? There's no checkpoints, so if you die, you get to start over.
That Sonic and the Black Knight boss is seeming a bit easier right about now.
But after all of that, we get a great ending. I won't go too much into it because I'd really want you guys to play through it yourselves.
I'm genuinely surprised by how much I loved this game. We were not expecting to be this into it. This is exactly what Sonic needed, even if it feels like it's falling ever so slightly short of being a great game. It's a great Sonic game, but just a good game. The jank holds it back from achieving so much more.
Absolutely, and I'm so happy I finally got this video out.
Yeah, we planned this video literally the moment we both started playing the game, but you know.
No funny outro this time, just I wanted to say thank you so much for always anticipating and looking forward and tuning in. It means the world to me that you guys care this much. So, with all that being said, I'll see you on the next video.